Being a student athlete can be so difficult.
If you're a student athlete and you've been feeling stressed lately, then this is a spot where you can work your mental health and your personal well being.
All right, guys. So in the nest, we have a massage chair. We have pillows. If you ever get tired and you want to take a nap. We also have these very comfortable chairs. We also have these stress bags, and we have these stress stars. They have a message on them. For example, this one says "Take a deep breath." We also have these bubble poppers, and we also have a journal and coloring book, and we also have this coloring book as well. But yeah, guys, that's what we got here. Just make sure you can come in here whenever you like. Just make sure you bring your student ID.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Full Count Podcast. This is
Edison Matos.
and Luis Valero. Morel's not going to be in this video with us, it's going to be a different one. But today we're going to be going around campus and asking students some questions about women's in sports, and we're also going to be talking about it. All right, guys, so today we're here with.
Sheila Pascual.
All right, Shayla. So today we're just going around asking some questions about women's in sports. So we're just gonna ask a couple of questions, and it should be nice and easy. All right. So for the first question, it's gonna be, what are some of the most influential women in sports today?
So for me, the most influencer woman in sports is Aitana Bonmati. She is the best soccer player this year. She won the Ballon d'Or this year, and I play soccer, so for me it's really important, and she's the best in what she do. So that's her.
Okay, great. Second question is, why is there often a gap in pay between male athletes and female athletes?
I think because they generate different amount of money. Also, I think it's depend of the sport. But for example, soccer, that is the most popular sport in my country. I think they generate a lot of different because a lot of people go towards men sport, but they don't support that many women. So they generate different. That's why I think they pay different. But also, it depend of the sports. I think. In other sports, they win more women's than men.
Great. Next question will be, what barriers or obstacles do you think women face in participating in sports?
I think the biggest obstacle is they don't get the same support as the men. I think the women start playing sports later than the men, so that's why we getting better and better every year. But I think we still have a long way to go until we equal men in popularity.
And last question will be, how do you feel about transgender women participating in women's sports?
I don't think that's correct, and I don't think that's fair because I personally play against one transgender woman, and it wasn't fair because we don't have the same qualities physically. So I don't think it should be allowed.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we're here with
Aaliyah Velasquez.
Hi, Leah. So today we're just going around asking questions about women's in sports. So it should be nice and easy. It's just a couple of questions. So the first question is going to be, what are some of the most influential women in sports today?
For me, I would say Coco Golf in tennis and Trinity Rodman in soccer. They're really big, even socially, so that kind of helps.
Great. Why is there often a disparity in pay between male and female athletes?
Men get more viewers. People think it's more interesting. So that's basically it, honestly.
That's enough. And what barriers or obstacles do you think women face in participating in sports?
The fact that for most sports, there's not really much we can go after, like college and stuff. There's not really professional opportunities for a lot of people compared to the men. So I think people just don't take it as seriously for women.
And last question would be, how do you feel about transgender women participating in women's sports?
I think there's really not enough transgender women participating to be having this debate because they really have nowhere else to go. It's kind of unfair, but at the same time, it is what it is.
All right, thank you so much. All right, guys, so we're here with.
Leah Lopez.
All right, Leah. So today we're just going around asking questions about women's in sports. So it should be nice and easy. It's only 4 questions. So, all right. So first question is, who are some of the most influential women in sports today?
So from the women's national team here in the U.S., there's a lot of young players right now doing a really good job. For example, like Alyssa Thompson, she's doing a really good job. It's inspiring to see like young players and stuff being able to go on such a high level of play.
Second question is, why is there often a disparity in pay between male and female athletes?
I think it has something to do with the amount of people that watch men's soccer versus women's soccer. Shouldn't really make a difference in my opinion, but I know that's what a lot of people talk about, that there's more viewers in men's soccer than in women's soccer. So I think that's a big part of it.
Also knowing that there are exciting players in women's soccer, for example, Alex Morgan, who just retired. Uh, I should watch. I will watch more.
I think you should.
Well, I try to. All right. So third question is, what barriers do you think women face in participating in sports?
Definitely. Well, on the higher level, probably definitely getting compared to the men. Definitely, and like their viewers and stuff like that. Maybe in college, I would have to say again, trying to always be compared and always trying to be better. So I think sometimes that actually does act like a barrier of trying to kind of be better than the stereotype of women in sports.
And last question is, how do you feel about transgender women participating in women's sports?
Personally, I don't really support it in that way. I think of it more as it's a little bit of an iffy topic, but I personally do not really support that in a way of like being someone who does believe strongly in like women and men. I think it comes with like, okay, how does it, like, if you and I, like, we can compare science to science, like, although I am very much have my feminist beliefs and stuff like that, but science is science. And like, if you go and compare me and you in sports right now, like, there's a big chance you'd probably win over some characteristics than I did.
All right. Thank you so much, Leah.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we're here with.
Brianna Morris.
All right. So today we're just going around asking questions about women's in sports. So it should be nice and easy. It's only 4 questions. All right. So the first question is, who are the most influential women in sports today?
From speaking from my sport perspective, I would say Sha'Carri Richardson and Gabby Thomas.
Would you tell us a little bit why?
Because they're resilient and overcame the struggles that they've been given in the sport industry, and yeah.
Great. Second question is, why is there often a disparity in pay between male and female athletes?
I feel like because they feel like men have to work harder to be like they work harder than the women to be in the sport, but we probably work equally or even more harder than men in the sport.
100%. The third question is, what barriers do you think women face in participating in sports?
The pay, like in the previous question, we're paid less than men in our sport, and it's a male-dominated sport, and especially in like coaching staff. So if there was like more women in the coaching staff, that would help us out as well too.
And last question is, how do you feel about transgender women participating in women's sports?
I feel like they should have their own section to compete in. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem.
You as well.
Si eres un estudiante de World Waters University y te quieres poner en forma,
Come to the Wellness Center located in JWJ.
And get a workout in during our open hours, which is from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. All right, so we're here with.
Lara Fierig.
All right, Lara. So today we're just going around and asking people questions about women in sports. So it should be nice and easy. It's only 4 questions. All right. So the first question is, who are some of the most influential women in sports today?
So I grew up watching Alex Morgan. For me, like as a soccer player who was really inspirational to me. But from Germany, also specifically was Alexandra Popp. I don't know if you've ever heard from her, but she's like a big soccer player in Germany. Um, Working a lot for women's as athletes, women's getting paid and everything. Like a lot of campaigns. Working for equality. So that was someone that I grew up with.
I'm also a great fan of Alex Morgan. I think she was a great player. The second question, getting into the getting paid. Why is there often a disparity in pay between male and female athletes?
So first of all, the problem is that men's sports is like way more promoted. You have way more advertisement about it. More games, more people are interested in watching it. Also because of historical aspects. You had like earlier in the days, sports like for example for soccer, like from my perspective now, soccer was a man's sport. Only men were playing that, or like mostly men were playing that. Women playing soccer were like they looked at them weird. It was not like really liked by society. So when that started growing, obviously men's sport was already like on a high level, so they got more money. They People liked it more, and a lot of people are, when things are different, they just don't like it. They have no idea about it, but they simply just don't like it because it's different. And obviously you have some differences in women and men's sports, but too many people are maybe too afraid to get into it really, or just don't want to spend their time doing that and actually like seeing what it's about. So that's why not that many people are interested, and specifically for me like women's soccer, which makes it hard for them to earn money from views, games that are streamed, people that are going to the stadium to watch them live. That's just way like the numbers are way lower than in men fields.
Right. Third question is, what are some of the barriers or obstacles do you think women face in participating in sports?
I think the main part is the payment. Because for the German leagues, you have maybe two, three clubs that actually can pay their players to live from the payment that they make through soccer. But you have so many female athletes that actually have to work a normal job while playing. So that makes it difficult because people expect them to practice on a high level, practice like a certain amount, that they get better, that they improve and they stay on a high level. But also compared to men which who do not have to work a normal job besides playing soccer, they don't have to focus on two things at once. So they have to work their normal job and still have to go to practice, are expected to play on a high level, like this same level as men, which is but under completely different circumstances.
Great. And the last question today would be, how do you feel about transgender women participating in women's sports?
I think that's a pretty difficult question because you don't want to like leave anyone out socially specifically. Because when people like identify as a different gender, then that's totally fine. Like they can do that, they can do whatever they want. It's just in sport at a certain age you separate people, like soccer for example, 14, 15, where you separate in women and men, just like basically due to biological reason, because men start to like grow more muscle, they are faster, they're like stronger. So just like based on this, it's really hard to say like you don't want to leave anybody out. But also if you have people that have like those genetics still like in them, which they're born with like normally, it's hard to put them in a different group that they were supposed to be in from the beginning. For example, for me, when I played soccer in Germany at home, we had a game against a team where there was a girl, there was a boy before, but you still could see like she was faster, she was stronger, and regarding on the biological facts, it's at a certain level not fair. So I wouldn't say to not let them play. It's just they should focus more on where they draw the line between, like, to this point you have to, like, you can play or you have to play in on this side, and up from this point on you can play on the other side, based on the biological process that you made with that.
All right. Thank you so much, Lara.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. So we're here with.
Julia Perez.
All right, Julia. So today we're just going around asking people questions about women's in sports. So the first question is going to be, who are some of the most influential women in sports today?
I think one of the most influential women in sports today is it's a woman that has like my age. She's American. She plays tennis. She's Coco Gauff. I think she's really influential because she has a really good impact on social media, which other female athletes maybe lack because they're not used to use social media since they're older generation. And I love her because she brings a lot of like fashion on court because she made a collaboration with New Balance and Miu Miu. So this brings new fashion for tennis clothes, and it's really fun.
Second question would be, why is there often a disparity or gap in pay between female and male athletes?
I don't think that it's just for athletes. It's a bit like everywhere the disparity in pay. I guess it's because of social standards or norms from imposed by society. They're just there since a long, long time, and it's hard to change something that has been the same for so long. So, of course, there had been fights about this. Like for example, same for tennis. Billie Jean, she fought for women's rights, and she actually achieved a lot. And so we're still fighting, but of course, it's something so deeply rooted into society that it's hard to change.
Next question would be, what barriers or obstacles do you think women face in participating in sports?
Well, I guess that a bit in general in life, women are seen as really emotional, and so I guess that this can um, this can be hard to face because maybe if we are too aggressive on court, maybe someone is gonna immediately talk about that, or if we cry on court, um, so again, someone is immediately gonna talk about that. Whether if a man screams or slams in this case in tennis, his racket is, it's more normal. If a woman gets mad, it's gonna be okay. She's so stressed, she needs to calm down. So this is definitely something that affects us more.
And last question would be, how do you feel about transgender women participating in women's sports?
I don't believe that transgender women should participate in female sports simply because of the anatomy of a transgender woman. Even though she may have done all the changes to become an actual woman, still her anatomy and her strength and her body is gonna be the body with the male and like male um, strength and male body per se, even if it changed, so like it cannot it sometimes it might not be fair. So for example in track, if it's a transgender woman, she's of course going to be faster than an actual woman because it's just the anatomy of the male. He's going to be faster. So in this case, even the transgender woman, she's going to be faster. So I don't believe that it's fair.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we're here with.
Malena.
All right, Melania. So today we're going around and asking people questions about women in sports. So you've been asking us only 4 questions. All right. So the first question is going to be, what are some of the most influential women in sports today?
I can say Venus and Serena Williams are two of the women that I grew up with because I remember just watching tennis. It was very popular at my house, even though we were volleyball players. And then I'm gonna say one that is more actual. I would say Caitlin Clark because of like her philosophy in basketball and how she plays.
Great. Second question is, why is there often a disparity or a gap in between female athletes and male athletes?
I would say that the excuse that a lot of people would say is that is because it's not viewed as much as men's sports or it's not that fast or something like that. But I just feel like it's sexism again in our society just translates to sports again. And I think men thinks that sports is a men thing
and it's just they just doesn't let us be involved as much as men do in sports.
Third question would be, what are some of the barriers or obstacles do you think women face in participating in sports?
Well, I feel like treating a woman as an object, or I can say like as an example in volleyball, like we were dressed in really small or tight clothes at some point in the history, so more people would go see it, and that's how it became popular. So I would say sexualize and treat women as objects is, or like just people that is a man. The things that a man does and a woman do, a man is gonna be treated like he's a dog, but a woman is gonna be treated like, oh, she just does too much or she's problematic.
And last question would be, how do you feel about transgender women participating in women's sports?
Can you say that again?
How do you feel about transgender women participating in transgender women's sports?
Oh, I think that is becoming more common. So I think a solution would be to make like an own league, like a new category, category in there, because biologically it's just hurting the players that have been training their whole life. But at the same time, I feel like they should be included in some point.
Right? No, for sure. Right, thank you so much. All right, so we're here with.
Queen.
All right, Quinn. So today we're just going around asking people questions about women's in sports. So the first question is going to be, what are some of the most influential women in sports today?
For me, it's definitely Trinity Rodman. She's very inspirational because she is who she is, and she's great at her sport. And yeah, I don't want to be like that.
Great. Second question is, why is there often a disparity in pay between male and female athletes?
I think because of the audience that they draw in. I think, and just historical, like the history of sports and it being a male-dominated field, and it's slowly becoming female. I think the audience just hasn't quite transitioned with the times, I guess.
The third question is, what are some of the barriers or obstacles that do you think that female women face in participating in sports?
I would say, besides the unequal pay, maybe just the overall almost stigma around them participating in it and performing their sport.
Great. And last question would be, how do you feel about transgender women participating in women's sports?
A very dicey subject. I'm pretty neutral. I mean, I know I'd be upset if I lost to someone with the kind of advantages that they have. So it's a weird one.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
All right. Welcome back, guys. So that's what some of our student athletes thought about the questions that we had today. But what do you think about some of the questions that we had? I also want to talk about it. What do you think about the difference between pay in male and female athletes?
I feel like it's a great difference. You can tell more in, let's say, basketball, right? WNBA basketball and basketball like NBA. Let's say one of the best player in WNBA basketball is AJ Wilson. She's just earning like 200 a year, and then LeBron James. His salary is
Much bigger than that.
50 millions
50 millions.
a year. So it's a great difference between uh those two.
Females and
Yeah,
males,
and it's the same sport. We can say the difference, like, fans. It's not the same. Networking.
Although I do think that the gap is going to get a little closer now that we got more fans getting into the WNBA.
Yeah. I don't know if that's gonna change the salary wise, but like I feel like they're getting bigger, and they're getting the support of the NBA
I
too.
think it's going to change a little bit. We'll probably the WNBA will probably get a bigger salary now that it's being watched a lot more. Mostly with the new stars. So we got Caitlin Clark and Joe Reese.
Yeah, and we can tell that now. Uh, those players that are coming from college, they do wanna like play the 4 year that they have at school because they're not gonna get paid, you know, how they getting paid at school.
Right.
So that's a sample. Clara is a sample of that, you know. And
Most
yeah,
with the whole NIL deal now going on, you got student athletes, college athletes getting paid at the collegiate
Yeah.
level. Of course, they're gonna want to get paid more now that they're in that bigger league in the NBA, WNBA. And
you think they're gonna get paid better, but no.
sometimes
the
it doesn't.
opposite.
Sometimes it doesn't happen, or sometimes it
Yeah.
does. But now for another question that we were asking around today is gender transgenders.
Yeah.
Women playing in transgender women's sports. What do you think about that? Are you up for it, against it? Do you think it's a neutral?
I mean, I'm not really into that, you know, but like I feel like it's a disadvantage, you know, because let's say you born as a man and now you playing women's sports, you know, against women's.
Yeah, it's
I feel
signs
like
and signs.
yeah, you got an advantage, you know, because we're built different. We can say like they say no, but like we built different, you know. You develop different.
Although
So
there are strong women out there,
yeah, but like I feel like
but the majority are weaker than men, or men develop a lot bigger and stronger
yeah,
than
yeah,
women,
that's
faster.
that's the point I want to get into. That's the yeah.
I mean, I think nobody should be left out of. I mean, they should probably get their own league or their own section for transgender people if they want to get into sports. Of course, they. I don't. I also don't think that they should be playing with different genders, for like female men, people born as a man and then transgendering into women. They shouldn't be playing with women in their
Yeah,
sports.
yeah.
Like you said,
I
it's
feel
gonna
like
be this,
that's a good idea. Like get them like into like
their own
the,
leagues.
yeah, their own leagues because they're still humans. You know, they want to play. They want
Exactly.
so I feel
And
like
it's
that's
gonna be
the
fair.
best.
They could also get
Yeah,
paid. They could get
yeah,
their professional leagues, and so
yeah. I
it's
feel
the
like
same
that's
for everybody.
yeah,
It's all fairness.
yeah.
But all right, guys. So that was it for today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And this is Luis Blair, and this is Full Count Podcast.